Thank you for taking time out with PSOA. Sean Johnston, the supervisor of the Great Plains Athletic Conference, bringing you today training tape number 9. With us today, once again, Monty Tilgener. Monty, thank you for joining. What is it that a Division I football official does during their bye week?
Well, I've had two so far, and both of them I went and observed crews and talked to the crews. So yeah, and then the other week I not only did that, but I helped out on a Friday night high school game. So yeah, it's football.
I will say myself, I was fortunate enough to have a bye week, but unfortunate enough to have a bye week. And what I decided to do was go to a couple games myself and continue to help train, educate officials out there listening. One tip that you should take if you're truly looking to get to that next level, you become so much better when you go out and teach and help other football officials. So if you do have the time, you go out and help others. It's amazing and how it makes you a better official. Take us to play number 1. Review. Ruling on the field on this play is no fumble. And Monty's going to bring up a good point to the coaches here. That coaches, you have access to the same replay system right after, and you see what the officials see. So here we see the ruling on the field as a fumble. But coaches, if you cannot see the football the whole entire time, we train our officials. It's going to stand. So more than likely, save your challenge and don't use it. So Monty, what other advice can you give mechanically here for the crew, and advice from coaches just watching it on the iPad?
Yeah, first of all, I'll address the coaches since you brought that up. Whoever you have kind of watching those suspect plays that you might want to challenge, um, I think really work with them on understanding before they even mention to you, hey, you might want to challenge this. They should look at both those angles and like a fumble situation like this, if they can't see the ruling on the field is fumble and they can't see body part down with the ball in possession, if they can't see either one of those parts from either angle, no matter what the ruling is, it's going to stand. So, and then, I mean, if I was a coach, I think I would have them say, okay, I think you should challenge this, take a look. I personally, I think would look myself just to see if this is worthwhile. And I mean, we can't see the ball there. We can't see the ball. We can't see the knee for sure. So that angle does us no good. So right away, you go to the end zone view. And the end zone view, there's a defender who's blocking the ball and I think the leg when he possibly goes down. Yeah, I mean, again, you can't see for sure ball and body part down. So there's no way, whatever the call on the field is, it's going to stand. So then I wouldn't challenge this. But going back from a officiating mechanics perspective, we we just got to remember that as a line of scrimmage official, if we can't see the ball and the body part down, we just got to let it play out. So on this one, the H is in perfect position, but the ball is not, he can't see the ball right now. And so he's really making his best guess of if he's down when that ball comes out, and we can't do that. If we're not sure, we do not want to make them down. So it would have been better. This opens up really well. The knee and the ball opens up to our referee. So, let him make this call in this situation.
So this is another high level officiating thing, and I'm really happy to say this in our conference. I think we have many officials that could do this. We could always come back and make the ball dead. So at this point, we have, I think, the ball's down. Look at the referee right now pulling the beanbag. And the referee then hears the whistle and the ruling of no fumble. H, if you would have left this alive, let the referee throw the beanbag, then talk of what you guys both saw, we could always bring it back after that conversation. So that was my tidbit here. Slow down, see if your partner gives you any information that it might be different than you. Keep it alive if your partner does give you information. And if you, after you talk, you change it, it's always easy to bring it back to the ruling on the field, down by contact.
Yeah, that's the big thing. Even if we have that bag down by the referee and you talk and you decide no, it was he was down, then you just come on the mic and you say after crew communication, which is important because that lets everybody know we communicated this to make sure we got it right. After crew communication, the ruling on the field is whatever the ruling is, and then all the coaches know they can make their decision and so on.
Play number 2 here. We have a scrimmage kick touching rules. So we are outside the 20-yard line. So if this field goal was unsuccessful, we would bring it back to the spot that it was previously snapped from. But as we play this out, the rule changes if we have touching. So Monty, I'll let you take it from here.
Yeah, so what you got to think about as an official here is there's three things that are going to make it where we bring that ball back to the previous spot. One, the ball goes beyond the line of scrimmage. Two, it's untouched by team B. And three, the ball ends up dead beyond the line of scrimmage. If all those three things happen, we'll come back to the previous spot. If any of those do not happen, then we treat it like a regular scrimmage kick, like a punt. So when B touches this ball behind, so the first thing does happen, the ball goes beyond the line of scrimmage. Okay. But when B touches that ball beyond the line of scrimmage, now previous spot is not an option anymore. So once he touches it, this ball is live and he muffs it. He does get it back, but that ball's not going back to the line of scrimmage. So they're going to get this ball wherever it is he ends up with it. And, coaches, that's something to share with your players of, hey, do we want to pick this up? And there's a lot of space there. So as a coach, you might be saying, hey, pick that baby up and let's see what we can do with it. I don't know how they want to do that, but that's the rule behind it. Mechanically, back judge and field judge, as soon as you see that ball's blocked and it's not even going to make it to the goal line, we want to first get to the goal line and then we want to spread out to the pylons and get our distance and come up the sideline. But remember, if this grounded ball would end up trickling and touch the end zone, we have a grounded scrimmage kick. If it was untouched by B and would touch the goal line, it would be dead. In this case, it was touched by B before, therefore, they got to cover it up. And in this case, they picked it up and tried to return it.
And so I just want to touch the rule. What if this ball was blocked? It never crosses the neutral zone and is recovered by either team at the 40-yard line. Where would we place the ball then?
Yeah, so that goes back to our, what I said. If it doesn't go beyond, then it's treated like a regular, scrimmage play, a regular punt, and team A, if they pick it up, since it never crossed, they can pick it up, they can advance it. But if they don't get to line to gain, it's going to be team B's ball at that spot. Obviously, if team B recovers it, then it's going to be their ball wherever the ball becomes dead.
So officials, write down those 3 items. All 3 things have to happen for it to come back to the previous spot.
And anytime we're outside the 20, I try to think about those 3 things. So if we have this situation, it's right there in the front of my brain.
Yep. So good discussion here. We have a defender entering the neutral zone. On his way back outside the neutral zone, the offensive player reacts by reaching out and contacting the defender. And we're going to talk about the differences of contacting the defender in the neutral zone, contacting the defender outside the neutral zone, and then swinging and missing the defender.
Yeah, so this is interesting because it's a little riskier, players and coaches, if you reach out and touch, because when you contact him, if he is definitely back and not in the neutral zone anymore, when you contact him, that's a false start. If he is still in the neutral zone, which usually they are, but if he's still in the neutral zone when you touch him, then that is a reaction by the offense caused by a player in the neutral zone, and then we have an offside on the defense. It's a little riskier because it takes time for you to reach out and touch him. You're better off just jumping up and coming out of your stance, pointing, as you do so. Better chance he's going to be still in the neutral zone at that point. Yeah. So to Sean's point, if you would reach out and miss on your swipe at the guy, we really have nothing. And then if he gets back, we've got nothing. So
Yeah, and then we talk about being tight to the line of scrimmage. This defender is not tight to the line of scrimmage. We have second and 11. His hands a half-yard ball, half-yard back. His helmet's a yard back. So any forward movement may not put him in. So if he similar play, different week, different game, if he's not in the neutral zone and he's contacted, we would have nothing here.
well, if he's not in the neutral zone and contacted, we'd have a false start, right?
It's a swing and miss. We
Yeah,
would have
okay,
nothing.
yeah,
Yeah,
yes, yeah, you're right. Swing and miss, we would not. But if he doesn't get in the neutral zone, say he
yeah,
starts a yard back, he comes a half yard forward, so he's not in the zone,
yeah.
and that offensive player reaches out and touches him. Now that's a false start. So that's why this is pretty risky to do the reach out and touch.
I know I've had conversation with the two coaches. Tell your offensive snapper if they enter the neutral zone, snap it, get a free play. And then another play similar to this. This is a clear defensive offside with a clear offensive reaction. This is a no doubter. It's not going to put officials in a judgment box. So enter, comes out of his stance to start his block. Adjacent lineman reacts to the defender inside the neutral zone.
Yep. That's a lot easier call for the officials.
Yeah. All right, so officials, we put this one in here for two reasons. Number one, this is big enough for a warning. So we don't have a flag later in the game for illegal formation. Had we had a flag for illegal formation on a punch situation, we would want you to put this warning into quick ref. But when we have this formation, we have the line on the left legal, line on the right completely behind. Not enough for an automatic foul, but warn this punt team that they need to get up on the line of scrimmage.
Yeah, that warning needs to go to the head coach, and that warning needs to go into quick ref.
Yep. And then as we play it out, it's going to be good for the end zone angle. We have one block in the back, and then one potential one with an explanation why it's not. So during the kick, Monty, I'll let you take it from here.
Yeah, so this is deep wings, this is our baby, right? We need to see that action. If you go back just a little bit, he's in chase mode. He's behind him. And any contact when they're in chase mode in the back is going to be a foul. So that one puts him down the ground. All right, that's exactly where that deep wing should be looking. So we need to get a flag down on that. And our announcement would be, during the kick, illegal block in the back, number 39. It's going to be 10 yards from the end of the kick. All right. Because that was during the kick. So we have a PSK foul here. The second one coming up is the one right there, right by that guy. Definitely on the same yard line, definitely from the side. The block just to the left on number 26. That one there is definitely from the side and legal. And the one on number 24, further to the left, I think is the one that might end up being the one that's a little iffier. Nope, my bad, it's that one there. Okay. And if you take a look right there, go one more click. Okay, there, perfect. You can see he's in front or at the same yard line. I mean, his right leg, number 26's right leg is in front of that guy. So they're definitely on the same yard line at worst. And if they're on the same yard line, that's not chase mode. So we need all the forcible contact to be in the numbers. We have some forcible contact in the numbers. We also have some forcible contact on the side. And therefore, per philosophy, not in chase mode, that would not be a foul for a block in the back. So I love that we did not have a flag down on that block. We need to get a flag down for the chase mode block on the earlier one by number 39.
All right, so officials, learning point number 39 is behind chase mode, contact on the numbers. The second questionable one, not chase mode, even all of the contact has to be clearly in the back, and we have enough contact on the side and not in chase mode.
Yes.
All right, we have catch, no catch, talk about review philosophies once again, and then the mechanics. This is a very odd play, and from a back judge standpoint, you know, if we see this type of play happening, what can we do differently?
Yeah, so our deep wing there, we're doing exactly what we should do as a deep wing. We're gonna hold there because we don't have the back third threatened initially. We only want to move off that pylon if we have time and we know it's going to be caught in the back third. Back judges, however, you are responsible for the end line. So if that ball is going to be caught or first touched around the goal line, even at the 3 yard line, 2 yard line, 1 yard line, continue to get back and get yourself right now. If our back judge was in the middle of the end zone, then when we have this bobble, he would be able to keep going in transition and be solid and stopped at the end line to have a better view of this. Now he does make an excellent ruling, and he's getting back there and he's in pretty good position, but it'd be better if he was in the middle of the end zone on the first touch, sees the bobble, continues to the end line, gets settled, and then can see from a play perspective. I mean, this is one that we definitely do not have possession until here, and now this first foot is definitely on the white. That I mean, we can see that. That would be it. If we would have ruled touchdown, that was one we could flip and reverse to an incomplete pass.
Yep, absolutely. So, good ruling on the field, incomplete pass, out of bounds, and Monty just nailed it. We tried to show that a lot of replay is stands. This is an example. Had it been ruled a touchdown, this is the type of indisputable video evidence we would need to overturn it on the field. All right, we have intentional grounding after the 2-minute timeout, and we have the second runoff option. So we're going to be talking about not only the mechanics as a crew to share information, but then the crew communication between the sidelines so we could get in and out of this penalty enforcement 10-second subtraction efficiently and fluently.
So we got to remember that intentional grounding is probably 95%, if not more, a crew call, because often the quarterback is threatened and the referee is going to have to stay with that quarterback. So he still has to stay with that quarterback there, and he might so he's going to need help on, from our short wing of, did this ball get to the line of scrimmage or not? And is there a receiver in the area or not? So our H should be coming into the referee. Our referee should be going to the spot of the pass, anticipating possibly intentional grounding. Our H should come in, and remember it's that neutral zone extended there. So if he does not get outside the tackle box, we need a receiver in that area. If he'd be outside the tackle box and get that ball to the neutral zone extended, which he did, we would not have intentional grounding. But in this case, with him being in the tackle box, we need a receiver in the area. That's what the H is going to bring to our referee, is that there was no receiver in the area. And then, as Sean said, we want to expedite this runoff as quickly as possible. So we're going to go to the defensive team coach, and we're going to say, Coach, We have intentional grounding. It's a 10-second runoff option. Do you want that option? And at the same time, we want we want to go to our offensive team head coach and say, Coach, if they want a 10-second runoff, do you want a timeout to prevent that runoff? Those conversations should be happening the same time. Then the H gets on, or maybe the S, well, whoever, the H or the S gets on and says they want the runoff. And then the F or L, whoever was with that head coach, says they want to take the timeout. Boom, we turn on the mic and we make our announcement.
Yeah, and that's exactly what happens here. Intentional grounding, the 10-second runoff is avoided by a timeout by the offensive team. And just a reminder, crews, 2-minute timeout, get together at the spot of the football, go over how many challenges are left, how many timeouts are left, review the 10-second subtraction, foul, injury, helmet off, so it's in the forefront of our mind during those last 2 minutes of either half.
Yeah, I sent out that little cheat sheet that we use this past week. So print that thing out, have someone read it to your crew, and kind of answering those questions as you go through it, just to have that all those things covered.
All right, our next two clips is an examples of illegal blindside block and a legal blindside block, and sort of describing why one is illegal while the other one is legal. And this is the illegal blindside block.
Yeah, so this was picked up by our line of scrimmage official on the near side of the camera. So a great pickup by him, and it's one that's where he should be looking. My thing is, as a deep wing, we're coming down and we are watching players, in our zone. And if I see a player in my zone come across like this, I'm not going to leave him. So I would have no problem with the deep wing on this near side right there at the 45-yard line if he would throw on that. I've done it before. You see the whole thing. You see it's a blindside block. That would be a great call for you to get as well because he left your zone with a brick in the hand, and that's why you would continue to follow him. Um, this would be an interesting one if targeting would have been called because if you look at the end zone view, it looks like I mean this would have been an interesting one. It really looks like he dips his head and forcibly contacts this player. So that would have been an interesting one to discuss if we had thrown for targeting. If we're not sure, that's good. Get the blindside block. But if we really think that we have, we definitely have a defensive player. I think he uses the crown as well. So, we've got 912 and 913 both. But curious if there was any discussion about that aspect.
I know this play was discussed by the crew and discussed with a coach, and targeting was never part of the conversation. This video evidence would be, with the clarity of it, would be difficult to make it indisputable video evidence.
Yeah, I would think it'd be hard to confirm that,
Yeah.
but it wouldn't have been surprising if somebody would have, had that discussion.
Yep. So same game. This is a legal blindside block, and I'm going to go to the end zone view as it gives us a better look of why and what's the difference and why this is legal, because it is a player coming across. All right, so there's the player there. I should have put a circle. So this is the player. He's coming across.
Yes, we definitely have a brick in the hand, but you can see right there that kicking team player starts to turn and looks right at him, and he actually comes up and brings his arms up and is involved a little bit in that contact. And also, I just don't think that's forcible enough either to be, it's remember, all blindside blocks are not illegal. One part of it to be illegal is it needs to be forcible. So if you don't consider it forcible enough, that in itself would make it not a foul.
Yep. And so another question that did come up just by reviewing this play, after the block, gets blocked again. And the question is, would you have this as holding with the result of the play, where that holding took place versus the result of the play?
Yeah, and we talked about this before. If we have a hold, it's a two-step process. We want to check the status of the ball, and that runner is being tackled at that time. So that is one that we philosophically we would not want to throw on. If you want to write it up, that would be great.
Yep. The the timing, the location, result of the play don't match up to put an offensive hold on that action.
Exactly.
All right, so we have another fumble, no fumble, and really the point of this one as we go is the importance of syncing up the video feed at the site so we could view what is going on the play, two different angles at the very same time.
Yeah, and there's so many bodies in there. I think you could sync this if this is even if this is synced up. I mean, you got nothing there. So whatever's on ruling on the field is going to stand. And on the sideline view, there's just again, there's so many bodies. I don't think we can, we have no idea there. Is he
See,
down? Is the ball out? Is the ball still in possession? And when we don't know, it's going to stand.
and see that's what I was looking like on this one. It's like he may be on the defender, so he's not down yet. Where on this angle, you cannot see that he's on the defender, but then you could see the defender pull the ball up on this one. So, and that was the first time you saw the ball right there. So, if we were potentially, if we weren't blocked by that one more defender, we could see the ball on one angle, we could see the ball carrier on the other angle. We might be able to piece it together if they were synced up.
Yeah, and it's really important that you get them synced up and you check that they're synced up.
Yeah.
Because when I was at Morningside, I went to look at a touchdown play, and I could see on one shot, I could see the hand touching out of bounds, and then when I went to the other view, they definitely were not synced. They were close, but they weren't synced. So I wasn't able to see where the ball was when the hand was out of bounds.
Our next play is going to be talking about illegal formation and philosophies of how we're going to be treating this tight end. So this tight end may not be, we don't have a good look down the line, but as we said this in previous training tapes, when he puts his hand down on the ground, more than likely we are going to put him on the line. Had he been up out of a 3-point stance and just in a 2-point stance, it now makes it clear to the officials we want this player in the backfield. So Monty, philosophically, if he's down in a 3-point stance, when in doubt with the tight end, we're going to cover him up, correct?
Yeah, and if you can make that circle a little, there you go, took it away. I mean, his feet are even with the back foot of that lineman. And I know that he staggered a little bit, that lineman is, but we would need his feet to be, we would need some space between both of his feet and the back foot of that lineman in order to say he's not on the line of scrimmage if his hand's in the ground.
Yeah. So now that the tight end's covered up, he's beyond 3 yards downfield on a legal forward pass play beyond the line
Pause
of
right
scrimmage.
here. Pause
Yep.
right here. This is outstanding by this crew. So the line judge had the IDP, and if you look right now, the ball's first touched by number 3, and our headline judge is getting on his O2O right now, and he's saying beyond. So when he says beyond, he's telling anybody who might have had blocking downfield, it was first touch beyond. He's also telling our line judge on the other side of the field beyond. So if he has IDP, he can throw his flag because we know if it would have been touched behind, it wouldn't have mattered that covered receiver went downfield. So that's exactly how we want it handled by a crew. Perfect example of using the O2O during the play to make sure we get it right.
There's one more play. We have a catch, no catch, simultaneous, not simultaneous, surviving the ground, not surviving the ground, in the end zone here.
So this is a really interesting play because I think you call this differently if we're in the end zone compared to not in the end zone. Because we know that if we are in the end zone, once we have what we would consider to be that have that catch be completed, it's done and we've got a touchdown. And I think we have a second act. I think he's completed this catch and then that ball right now gets ripped out by the defender. I think we have a touchdown. And if I was one of the officials, I would, report it that way over the O2O to my referee so he can make that announcement. So then the coach can decide if he wants to challenge it or not. If this same play happens in the field of play, I think we want to go incomplete because we're not really dead until something happens, so it's a little different because the play's dead immediately once we rule possession. I think in the field of play, we let this play out a little longer and we don't want cheap turnovers, so we make it incomplete. I guess, Sean, we hadn't discussed that, but what's your thought on that?
So I know the ruling. Let's start this. The ruling on the field was an incomplete pass, no touchdown.
Yes.
Okay. So now in review, what would be needed to make the ball dead in the end zone?
Yeah, so we need that complete control, an element of time before that ball gets taken out. And you would clearly have to say that's a second act after we had complete control, element of time. In my opinion, I think you have that.
Okay.
But that's a decision that the referee is going to have to make.
And that's going to have to be the judgment and the importance of using the correct terminology to explain the judgment. So if you rule this, the ball became dead with an upright receiver in control of the ball in the end zone, by rule the ball is dead. And then outside the end zone, we're looking for that second act to make him a ball carrier surviving the ground. When in doubt, wipe it out, incomplete pass, no cheap turnovers.
Yeah, that's really the difference is the ball's dead, earlier in the end zone compared in the field of play.
Yeah. Good conversations, good rule discussions, and again, with this play specifically, the importance of what we announce on the field will impact what we go into replay with, and in quick ref, the correct terminology used to support your judgment on the field. Well, that does it for training tape number 9. Monty, appreciate you joining us once again.
Yeah.
We have 4 more weeks left in the regular season. Crews, officials, do not be complacent. Keep on striving to work on individual goals, crew goals, to continue the growth and development on and off the field.
Hey, Sean, hold up.
Yes, sir.
So one thing, yeah, you guys got to remember every single game is very important, whether it's 1 versus 2 in the conference or 5 versus 7, whatever the case may be. And when I was at Morningside this week, at halftime, I went in with the crew and referee was like, "So what do you got for us?" And gave him a couple things, and then I said, "This game's a little lopsided already at halftime. How good will you do the second half? How focused will you be the second half? You need to treat this second half, even though the score's lopsided, like it's a tight game. You need to focus on your pre-snap routine and focus on things every single play. And those are what separate the good officials from the great officials and the good crews from the great crews. So no matter what game you have coming up, work it to the best of your ability and work it hard."
Good advice right there from one of the best in the country. Officials, remember, you're only as good as your last call.